mbokk jërë ngeen jëf ñu ngi leen di nuyu bu baax mbégte bu yaatu dalalal leen tey ci Talk Eyeafrica ci àjjuma bu jot bu juróom-ñetti waxtu yu jotee ni ki ñu koy defee rek di ànd ak yéen ci seen programme bi nga xam ne ne ko bëggal seen bopp muy am ci àjjuma bu jot tey jile tamit ñu fas yéene dalal fi gan gu am solo waxtaan ak moom ci réew mi gis-gisam ci doxalin ci politique ci développement ci yu bare bare des nañ ci waxtaan ak moom ni ki ñu koy defee rek ci képp gan goo xam ne rek ànd nañoo ak yow ci Talk Eyeafrica mu doon seen xarit Mouhamed Garmi Mbaye nekk ci waxukaay bi di itam janook gan gu am solo suñ gan nag tey mooy Musa Jeng Mr Musa Jeng boo leen ko déggee nag rawatina ci programme bi nga xam ne ñoom it dañ fay nekk ci dimanche bu jot di waxtaanee réew mi ñu duppee ko for the people by the people so moom tamit tey mu ñëw fii ci Talk Eyeafrica fas yéene waxtaan ak yéen laata ñu dugg nag ci biir waxtaan bi dañ koy rek nuyu bàyyi ko mu nuyu génn ñu seetaan su ko defee nag ñu sóobu ci biir waxtaan bi Mr Jeng am nañ mbégte bu yaatu bu yaatu dara la tey ci Talk Eyeafrica ñu bàyyi la nga nuyoo ko ñuy seetaan.
kontaan naa Garme kontaan naa ci dalal bi maa ngi nuyu staff bi leaders yi gars yi Eyeafrica yëpp soo déggee Eyeafrica ñun ñoo yéen ñoo bokk tool bi yéen a ngi béy seen waar ñuy béy suñ waar te suñ liggéey bi dooru tey Eyeafrica ku ko xamut going all the way back to 2016 bi nga xamee ne ñun ñu ngi ci biti di wax ñi doon wax Gambia fii bëriwuñ waaye Eyeafrica whatever the political situation is here today yéen seen contribution moom ñëpp xam nañ ko.
macha allah
so moo tax man kontaan naa pour ñëw tey man sa fan la. I watch your program a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Every Wednesday maa ngi leen di seetaan yéen a ngi toj kaas yi. and comme li ma wax sa collègue bi rek bi ma tesee ak moom ci suba. ma ne ko ñun tamit ci yéen la ñoo taataanee. and so I'm looking forward to having this conversation.
Thank you.
wax dëgg yàlla.
Yeah, so quickly dañu ñëw Gambia since 2016. After the changes xam nga 2016 struggle bi mu ngi start 2015 comme like the struggle to bring Jammeh down. 2015 2016 a coalition am mu successful Jammeh gi jóge fi. Gambia after Jammeh 2016 2017 up to date. tey yow mi nga xam ne gëjuloo fii daanaka every year nga ñëw. and also bokkoon nga ci struggle bi. yaa ngi observe tamit what is happening. tey boo doon def sa analyse. Gambia after Jammeh. maanaam ñu jëlee ko let's say 2017 up to date. lan ngay wax.
Garme làcce bi nga làcce noonu. làcce bu yaatu la. te làcce buñ war a làcce la. nga ne di struggle pour Daniel Jammeh started 2015. It started much longer than that. suñ buggee analyse 2017 up to date. dañ am pour dellu gannaaw fiñ jógee. man mun naa wax ne after the 2001 elections. as far as the diaspora is concerned. ñun. ci lañ decide ne something needed to be done to bring about change.
Since 2001.
2001 elections.
Okay.
Because 2001 election yaakaar amoon na. there was a coalition of Gayi PPP ñoom Omar Amadou Diallo and the entire because xam nga PPP dañ leen baanoon in 1996. it was in 2001 that they lifted the ban. So there was a coalition of the United Democratic Party with the backing of the PPP. ñun ñëpp ñu am yaakaar ne Jammeh will be stopped and defeated. It did not happen. Then ñun ci diaspora bi that's when we decided ne to bring about change we have to get our hands dirty. So ne 2015 la struggle bi to remove Jammeh. dama bugg a wind back ne. It started much longer than that. ñu jéngu ci come together in summary ñu pareel 2006 that was the first attempt to form a coalition of parties because ñun gëm noon nañ ne to stop Jammeh we have to have a comprehensive coalition of parties. For the first time, we were able to bring the entire leadership of all the political parties, opposition parties, to Atlanta, Georgia for a summit that was called...
In 2006?
In 2000... No.
Not to prepare...
In 2003 to prepare for 2006.
Yes.
We call it the Meet the Diaspora Summit.
Okay.
That was the first attempt. UDP was represented by Yahya Jammeh. Ahmad Ba was represented by Duloba. The newly formed party called Ndam was represented by Ousseynou Mbengue. Halifa Sallah was there representing Doi. Omar Amadou Jallow was there representing the PPP with blessed memories. That was the beginning, the involvement of the diaspora to stop Jammeh. That was the beginning. That's what led to the North Coalition. Khalifa was appointed as the coordinator. The reason why I'm giving you this background, so that you will understand, to evaluate, since 2017 at day, what have we achieved? Yeah. Unfortunately, 2006, the coalition disintegrated. You see, the very problem that we're dealing with now about comprehensive coalition, ñu couldn't deal at that time. In as much as among an agreement, they were working together. In fact, they participated in by-elections at that time, and the opposition defeated Jammeh. But when it got to the presidency, a kan moy lead, fala affaire bi yako. Mbir mi tas.
In 2006.
In 2004, 2005. Ñun indi nañ leen America, coalition leaders la wax ni de. Yóbbu leen Minneapolis.
So lan mo doon nekk like the excuses pour ñàkk a jubóo bi comme lan lañ daan joxe comme di reason xam naa dinañ ñëw ci coalition.
Dinañ ñëw ci coalition bi
waaye comme lan moo ne because yaa ngi wax ne even lu opposition bi nekk di jànkuwanteel ni to form a comprehensive coalition amoon ngeen ko during that time so lan moo daan ne xam nga fii we are talking about kan moo amee di numbers fii loolu la ñu bëri di wax. wuta lead mooy ki nga xam ne moo amee di numbers so then lan moo nekkoon di difficult.
waxi ndombas. waxi what kind of coalition. loolu du yëfi tey. even boobu sax. wax jooju mu ngi fa woon. UDP's position. like even they are saying it now. at that time. mooy woon ne. any coalition that you form. the biggest party has to lead. ñoom they believe it then.
Isn't that right?
It's not a question of, it's not my position to say what is right or what is not, but they have an argument. It's a legitimate argument to make. Ne man su fekkee ne ñu ngi form a coalition. For UDP, it was based on they saying that, look at what happened in 2001. We have the highest numbers of votes. So to them, it makes sense that forming a coalition, not only should they lead, in fact, their position it has to be a party-led. Khalifa, Omar Amadou Jallow, what they said was, look, let's have a coalition, they call it the program-led. In other words, name talk, ñu toggako, ñu find common ground. They did not agree to basically jël seen bagage ak seen parti, just endorse United Democratic Party. But anyway, there was a compromise. The compromise, they signed a memorandum of understanding, each and every one of them. For months, we were having conference calls at ñoom. Like I said, they contested by elections as a coalition, and they were able to win. Bañ demee ba ca biir when they were dealing with who is going to lead ñoom demoon nañ ba form ne they will not do it under UDP they form a merger called NAT nga xam ne ñoom ñëpp dañ ci bokk. So in summary, because I don't want to get into the details because then we're going to get bogged down. So bañ formé NAT moom mu ëmba affaire yi nekk the vehicle and the vessel bi nga xam ne moom la gars yi di use to contest the 2006 elections. Then the decision, okay, can we lead that vessel? Per the agreement, the memorandum of understanding, it will be done by consensus. In other words, dañoo waxtaan ñoom neen. It's during this waxtaan boobu leen fa la affaire bi yàqu. And then Mr. Dabo walked away because he believed that these people are not trustworthy. His words, not mine. ñeneen coalition leaders yi ne ko affaire bi pareegut. We are still discussing. Let's allow it. It was too little, too late. UDP got together in NRP and they formed a coalition. According to the UDP, their calculation was simple. In 2001, Mr. Dabo got about close to 32%. Ahmad Ba got 9%. So he thought forming a coalition with Ahmad Ba, he would have a very good chance, formidable chance of defeating Jammeh. The rest was history. It didn't happen. So, in short, what you see in 2016, Munge Doron, all the way back after the 2001 election, getting ready for 2006. And again, the diaspora always played a central role by facilitating. Before 2016, we brought them to rally for an other attempt to bring them together. Mr. Dabo was there, Ahmad Ba was there, Omar Amadou Jallow was there, Bakari Bunja Dabo was there. All the players were there. And that's what eventually led to 2016. Now, your question is, naka la gisee dëkk bi since 2017.
Yeah, to date.
So, to go back, dañu am pour laaj suñu boppa. 2016. Lan lañ séntu woon. We wanted to have a radical departure from liñ amoon for 20 years under Jammeh. People were getting murdered. There was no democracy, there was no rule of law, there was no freedom of the press. Loolu yëpp amut. Wax dee yëngu duul moo fi newoon. Loolu lañ bëggoon a change. We wanted to change the political climate and usher in a new way of doing business. That's what we agreed on. What was the agreement in 2016? The agreement mooy woon ne dañ am pour sooy suñ dëkk bi. We have to change the politics at that time. Political party leaders yep came together. Yow fekkee nga man fekkee naa. Each political party leader ñoom ñëpp bëggoon nañ bokk ci jongante bi waaye ñu ne nañ fee mu ne génnee Jammeh mooy ñun ñëpp ñu come together in a comprehensive way. I'm not going to get into the solo sending and some of the things that happen, but to cut it short, all the leaders sacrificed in a way, even though there was competition. Halifa Sallah ne man bugga naa lead. Ahmad Ba ne man bugga naa lead. Some other people ne bugga na ñëw lead. They had a memorandum of understanding ne ku fi mu nekk every party would provide 70 delegates. Through that 70 delegates, whoever wins will become the leader. Because in 2006, loolu mooy woon problème bi. In 2016, they were able to at least solve that. Adama Barrow, Mr. Barrow, an unknown person, became the leader. But in that memorandum of understanding, it was also clear, whoever is chosen, these are some of the changes that we want to do. We want to change the culture of the politics. We want to bring the spirit coming together. Mooy woon ne self-perpetuation du amati. Duñ fi elect benn président mu nekk fi more than 10 years. It was an agreement. ñoom ñëpp ñu d'accord. Naka lañ koo defee ñu ne whoever is chosen ñun dinañ la jàppale. So Halifa Sallah sacrificed for Adama Barrow to become president. Omar Amadou Jallow sacrificed. Alhaji Ousainou Darboe sacrificed. A lot of people sacrifice for him to lead. ñoom ñu jàppale ko. ñu jógee from Banjul to Koina. Diaspora bi jàppa ci. We provided the funding. I still remember, few days before the convention at Kairaba, we received a call from Suimerbi, Aji Fatoumata Tambajang, the former vice president. Mu ne suma doom ñi ngi war a dem convention de nit nañ xaalis tukulóor si Musa Jeng Pa Samba Jaw ñu ngi ci moto bi ñu call Fatou Camara Fatou Network ne ko we have to do a fundraising that Friday because these people are having a convention and they need the funds. That Friday we raised almost $10,000. Gambians were sending money all over the place. Ñu jël xaalis boobu yónnee ko Aji Fatoumata Tambajang. They used some of that fund to organize the convention. Gannaaw loolu am na. The idea mooy woon ne whoever is elected will serve for 3 years. There was an agreement about the delegate, naka lañ ko leen na choose. He would serve for 3 years. He would step aside. He will oversee elections. Because the spirit mooy woon ne dañ bëggoon in the self-perpetuating rule, stop it. Duñ fi am Jawarang for 30 years, Jammeh for 22 years. We wanted to get away from that. And this was an opportunity to do just that. So moo tax su gaa yi waxee ne naka lañ ko waxati 3 years, 5 years, it's sad. Because the idea mooy woon ne let's come together and do that. Anyway, li xew na. Anyone. Jammeh was defeated. Adama Barrow became the president. Every agreement that was put in that memorandum of understanding was ignored.
By the coalition or by the president?
You see, xam nga soo signing a coalition ñoom ñëpp xamoon nañ ne if the person gets elected constitutionally he would become an executive president. There were no safeguards. Kenn mënu ko wax ne doo mën a def lii oo doo mënta def lii. But what happened mooy woon ne Adama was from the United Democratic Party, and unfortunately after the elections, we went back to participate ak seen competition bi ak jockeying bi. UDP saw an opportunity to look. This is our time. In fact, ñoom their position, honestly, mooy woon ne, you know what? I mean, we all heard when Mr. Barrow said, as far as the constitution was concerned, when there was this debate about 5 years, 3 years, he said, look, constitutionally this guy was elected to be president for 5 years. Yes, absolutely. But that was not the agreement. The agreement mooy woon ne ñoom suñ ñëwee they defeat Jammeh, they will go to the National Assembly, they will amend the constitution. By amending it mooy ne you amend the constitution ne before the 3 years, because it's a term of 5 years. Why yow di nga mën a amend in a way boo xam ne elections can be held. Moom su fekkee ne dafa resign within 90 days dinañ form elections and party bu nekk indi sa candidate ku win-win, because then at that time they would have created a level playing field. Then change the culture of the politics. So the question is, yow nga ne ma coalition bi ñoo lii o Adama Barrow, it comes back to him, because moom mooy woon di who ran under an independent ticket. When you want to signing ko, that is not really, that's very dishonest. Because so one of the agreement mooy woon ne 70 delegates to choose who's going to lead, and also whoever becomes the candidate da nga am pour resign from your party to representing the coalition, and all of that were fulfilled, then clearly the 3-year also was an important element in the agreement. So when Soma Laje, clearly it was Adama Barrow that walked away from the agreement. He penned his signature to that agreement. Now, again, coming back to the question, question bi dafa yaatu. What have I seen since 2017? in as much as I believe they undermine the spirit of the coalition of 2016, the aspiration being among ñun ñëpp ne dañoo change the culture of politics in the Gambia. But there was some fundamental achievement that cannot be overlooked. The political climate dafa change seriously. There is semblance of democracy. There is a rule of law. Tuflite Adama Barrow sax moo gën Jammeh. There is freedom of the press. ñu ne golol noo ko bañ bu ko attene munta eeg. Mr. Barrow, Adama Barrow, the president, has created an evolving democracy in this country. For 20 years, ñeme ñu may teg suma tànk Gambia, ñeme ñu ma ko. We all know the press. Football, ngay cover, or music. That has changed. When they say and they brag no political prisoners, it's true. No one gets killed. Extrajudicial killing. Amut. Our democracy is evolving. We are at a better place. You can also say clearly, in every sector, when Mr. Barrow talks about the road infrastructure, dëgg la gis naa ko, the country has changed. They've done a lot of work in every sector. Kenn munta nekk di laam-laamee loolu dëgg la waaye soo gisee I went back and talk about how did we get here. The culture of the politics hasn't changed. You see, su fekkoon ne dañ stekkoon to the agreement, man I do believe this country beneen affaire la ñoo wax. Man gëm naa loolu. Our democracy is evolving. There is rule of law. There is independent judiciary. I believe that. But that democracy, Garme, is not consolidated. You see, Jawara was here for 30 years. Within the sub-region, Gambia was known as democracy. Strong. Senegal sax ñun ñoo leen gënoon a am democracy. It took 24 hours and it was gone. We see what is happening in Burkina Faso. We see what is happening in Niger. We see what is happening in Mali. It's easy to build democracy. Li jafeñ mooy nga consolidate ko. What Mr. Barrow and this government has done was the lack of consolidating this democracy that they did not build alone. We all build it together. He self-perpetuated himself. He did not change the culture of the politics. It's still business as usual. And it's sad. Did he do a lot by contributing in the health sector? Yes, he did. Did he do a lot by contributing in the infrastructure sector? Yes, he did. Did he do a lot in contributing in the educational sector? Yes, he did. Anyone ku wax ne deful loolu da nga politique rek. But I also do believe man faana la suñ toogee ma ne la xamat lii laa bëgg ñu d'accord nga jox ma sa loxo bi nga ne ma d'accord nga ma ne la d'accord naa nga ne ma nii lañ koy defee ñu ne nii lañ koy defee. I believe ne gor ca baatam gannaaw Halifa Sallah dafa sacrifice to allow you to become the president te ñoom suñ ci jàpp doon yow doo nekk président su ci Omar Amadou Diallo jàpputoon yow doo nekk président su ci Ahmad Ba jàppoon yow doo nekk président. The basis of that agreement has to be respected. mooy ne when you self-perpetuate, yes, a lot of good things have been done. Why not? Soe gunde. And this is where I believe if you're going to evaluate this country, you have to look at that as well. The culture of the politics hasn't changed. Na ñoom Jawara daan politique, Jammeh di ko politique, noonu la ñoo politique ñoom. Corruption, the very cancer that's a threat to the socio-economic development, hasn't changed. Really, it's still there. Def na de, but man, I do believe Gambia waroon na nekk feneen that what we have accomplished. Garmi man loolu laa gëm ne am na nun doon demee dëkk bi would have been at a better place. Ku wax ne defut doo góor. Whether it's the political climate, whether it's rule of law, whether it's independent judiciary, he has contributed. In every facet of the economy, he has done his best. I do believe that. But there are also problems. We talk about affordability, housing. You ask anybody, man waa Kawurla, so leen laajee ne leen prior to 2016, are you better off in terms of shelter? Is the same. Are you better off in terms of affordability? Is the same. Are you better off in a lot of ways? Indil na leen tali de. They have access to water
and electricity.
Ak electricity. Kuy wax da nga waxal Yàlla. Moo tax man ma wax ne he hasn't done anything.
Okay.
He has.
So si loolu ndax wax nga mbiru rule of law, freedom of the press, wax nga tamit si infrastructure nga xam ne moom loolu bokk na si lu muy gën a wax.
Bàkku
waaw
mooy dëgg.
Yes tey boo doon dikka tey léegi tamit nga xool xëy na ci loo jàpp ne. fii lañ waroon a nekk te nekkuñ fa. tey comme bu ñëwee ci ni nga ko waxee woon dafa amoon résine bi tax. ñëpp taxawoon pour ay coalition am pour ñu jëlee fi Jammeh. dafa am lu réew mi bëggoon dafa am lu réew mi namoon. ci namu yooyu bokk na ci. constitution bu yees muy téere bu bees. ci lu ñu namoon bokk na ci itam ci lu ñu wax soppi suñu xar-xanamu way kaaraange yi muy security sector reform comme ni ko gars yi di waxee. tey boo doon dikkaat ci loolu noonu ci diirub njiiti réew mi Adama Barrow. ñaari draft constitution sànni nañ ko ci mbalit bi muy 2020 draft constitution. and 2024 draft constitution. bu 2020 bi gars yi di blame Barrow ne moo ci àndul woon because of that retroactive clause. ba tax am yenn député yu ko àndale bañ mu jàlla 2024 draft constitution bi. opposition bi ak civil society bi ñoom ñu gis ne Barrow's papers am na ñu ko doon waxee noonu.
correct
ba tax opposition bi tamit def luñ def ba jàllut. tey bu doon jàngat yi yëpp lan ngay wax lan moo ñu xañ constitution ba léegi ndax dañuy blame the president for the lack of political will comme ñenn ñi ñu ko wax wala dañuy ñëw blamaat tamit opposition bi ci boppam. Mr Jeng moom nan la koy gisee.
Garme, thank you very much for reminding me about the constitution because am nga wax naa la ne la one of the problems in am to change bi mooy the culture of the politics hasn't changed. Most people and the stakeholders, when they came together, mooy woon ne dañoo wecci loi bi and the constitution was central in that. So the fact ne just that in itself mënuñ koo accomplish that tells you ne change biñ bëggoon amut. What happened in the 2020 draft? Ci beginning bi Adama Barrow was committed. Really. A bill was put together from the National Assembly. ñun ñëpp gis nañ formation of the Constitutional Review Commission. ñu dem all over the country. They came to the US. They went to Europe. All over the world. ñu ne they want to build a constitution boo xam ne it belongs to the Gambian people. Now, we all know what happened to that faith because of the culture of the politics. Was Adama Barrow seriously committed to that? I don't believe that. I seriously don't. Remember, central to that agreement was the 3-year clause, and he walked away from it. There was a reason why they put that retroactivity clause. just to make sure no self-perpetuating rule. 10-year term limit, 2-term limit, and also make sure the very government that was elected by the coalition because of the agreement, kooku nga xam ne moom lañ elect as president, du war a tee mun a run. Xam nga it defeats the purpose. Because in Africa, when you're an incumbent, dañ dee xaw a monopolize power. Daf dee very easy pour nga win an election. So that was put in to make sure as a safeguard. So if you're Adama Barrow, respect on the agreement in 3 years, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes as my legacy to make sure the 2020 draft be passed, even with the retroactivity clause. He could have done that. He did not do that. So Sonema 2020 draft, why did it fail? Is because of Adama Barrow was not committed for it to pass.
The drafters, they were fair to him because of hunger. You know, I'm not going to close that convict. Come if you are convicted, don't want a candidate. I'm not you cast a political leader cast and then that clause was removed. So President B you gisne come like that retroactive clause. Mom tamit bobu gisuko wala yow no gisul.
Xam nga man suma position at that time. Ci suñ programme bi. Man I was willing to even walk away from the retroactivity clause. Because a lot of legal people wax nañ ne it's not legal.
Yes.
Do mun na am loi be pare na ko delo gannaaw.
Yes.
So most people thought maybe that was a mistake from the drafters. Why da nga am pour understand the spirit.
Okay.
Xam nga spirit bi moy won ne ñun ñep ñew nañ together ñun ñu elect la. Li la def president moy ñun ñep. If there was no coalition, Adama Barrow would have never been president. Lolu mo ñun ñep xam nañ lolu duñ ko dañ ko tànna. So man lima wax moy ne in as much as people are saying he's targeting Adama Barrow, he wasn't targeting Adama Barrow. It could have been anybody. Ko xam ne yaay president bi at that time. Understand li ma mean? The retroactive clause bi moy won ne they wanted to safeguard ne mom du wara mëna dem dina mëna oversee. Idea bi moy won ne dinañ am a free and fair election. Ken do am advantage ci parti si. Now, degala some legal luminaries that's not the way to do it. Why not lol jarna? So most people believe the political will wasn't there. Now, where I thought the opposition they did a very terrible job. Their strategy wasn't very long term. It was impulsive. It was kan lan la foog ne moom loolu la. Adama Barrow had the votes to kill the 2020 draft. Could they have made compromises and said, okay, remove the retroactivity clause. At least we will still have a term limit. And still we will still have 50+1. Most people believe ne. So opposition be cave on in nangu. You gain a retroactivity clause. Most likely dinañ doon am 2020 draft. Adama Barrow du doon war a mun a ron sax 2026.
Why?
Man du doon war a mun a ron.
Oh yeah, because of
because of term limit.
Yes, you are right.
Moo tax ma ne la opposition bi
konon term first term boobu du si bokk.
Exactly.
Konon dina mun a ron for 2026 because konon bii mooy nekk di
no
first term.
2020 draft bi su pass toon.
Waaw.
I'm going he ran in 2020.
Yeah, you are right. Because
yes, in 2016.
You are right.
So, anyway, let's fast forward. The culture of the politics more one the problem.
So, Legi, it is fair just to blame Barrow for not having a new constitution.
No.
Yes.
Opposition bitamit.
Okay.
They were selfish. They were impulsive. They play within the culture of the politics. I want timey PPP and timey Jammeh. You do me, I do you. Let's look at the 2024 draft.
Okay.
Barrow went Agayami at the cabinet. They changed the 2020 draft. Geneli, Dugali. Anyone looking at it, he's not serious. But there was a reason why the National Human Rights Commission, Gambia participates. And even Halifa Sallah, and a whole lot of people. In as much as the process was tainted, They thought, let's give it a chance. Barrow momo sabote 2020 draft. Mudem toga limo toga. Make the changes that he did. Then allow the papers. Na jalla. Pass the second reading. Let it allow get to the committee level. Then make changes in need to make compromises. Opposition bina alomuk and some activists. Manchester program is Sunday after Sunday. I always used to tell them, Nenyen jail the absolute majority principle, 50+1 B. Nenyen jail the term limit. Let's use that as our insurance policy. They've got you in back pocket B. Yinga hamne, we have problems with them, where there is confirmation of cabinet nominees and all these other things that he has done, even if he accept
asset
declaration, all those things that we had problems with. But let's look at the bigger picture and let's be strategic. And this is where I blame the United Democratic Party.
Why?
I believe they made a huge mistake.
By not doing what?
They had the votes in the National Assembly. Mr. Dabo has always said, if you change a comma, we're going to walk away. In politics, you don't take positions like that. You have to look at what ultimately the bigger picture and the strategy. So about coalition, can you imagine, even 2024 draft mu pass, and then we have a new constitution where there is 50+1, then it would have coalition it would have been muted. Because kuneka, then when them to jongante bi, man believe that Adama Barrow wouldn't have gotten 50% of the votes. I don't believe that. And there would be a second round of voting. So Boba, the first two, they can go to a second round of voting. Linyuko Han Moine allowing the 2024 draft to proceed.
Because the majority can be trusted. Because the committee level, for numbers more count, not absolutely numbers come majority. So more than ñu encofo because yu mel non yag na am ñu dem ba ci community ki ñu def len ko so mo they don't trust them.
Garme in politics, even if you don't trust the person, you have to trust yourself and you have to look at ultimately, strategically, how does this help me as a party politically? When I believe in the UDP, their reaction was more emotional than strategic. Do they trust Barrow? I wouldn't. Yes, they cannot trust Barrow. Should they trust the NPP? Absolutely not. At the committee level, yes, it was going to be a simple majority, but at the consideration stage, they could still stop it. So, the 2020 draft bill, the UDP's position allow it to go through the pass the second round of second reading, and then you allow it to get to the committee level. So Barone Alomuk du ci dal ak gayami, and they voted against it. You found yourself in the same situation. At least, you know what? In as much as I don't trust them, let me allow it to get to the committee level. And I will politically speak to the Gambian people and look, the reason why we remove Jammeh, the whole idea we want a new constitution to change the culture of politics. 2020 draft bi nga xamne yeen ci seen boppa yeen ko defar. These people ignore it. Fim nek ñom dem nañ be toggal ñoo togga. Why we believe in a new constitution. We're going to go along. We're going to allow it to go past the second reading. We will get to the committee level and we will discuss the issues. In other words, Dinglen Muna exposed to the Gambian people. Barrow is not serious when it comes to constitutional building. But at the same time, so if they know, they don't want to agree to anything. They don't want to give in anything. So Boba, when you get to the consideration stage, you have the votes to stop it. That's what Halifa Sallah said. Halifa did not like how the whole process started. Gambia participates did not like that either. NHRC, they had issues with it. But what they're saying and advocating, allow it to go past the second reading. Let it get to the committee stage and let's give and take and compromise. So Mansuma blame the opposition. Moine and UDP in particular, they play the same game as Barrow. And it's unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
So kon mu ne jàpp ne NPP ak UDP ñoo tax ba léegi Gambia mu ñu am constitution bu bees.
It will be a little bit unfair to put it in that way.
Okay.
Because when everything is said and done, it comes down to a Barrow and the political will. And it's the same Barrow that betrayed the MOU. What UDP has done, more unfortunately, the difference between Barrow was in UDP. And I think that is always at the back of their mind. So every decision that they make, and it was the same Barrow that basically dismissed them. I mean, where Alhaji Usainullah, I mean, this was his father, this was the real guy. No one can say, the new Gambia that we are looking at, Alhaji Usainu contributed immensely to that. So, would I say, put them at par? No, I wouldn't do that. I'll put much more of the blame to the president.
Okay.
But non-tamit, I think they make some huge mistake, faux pas. I mean, strategically, if you ask me.
All right. Li yëpp happen président bi tey ñu ngi war a dem election. Ci at mi mën nañu wax ne April sax ñu ngi war a start this voter registration. December léegi tey. So ndax président bi jàpp nga ne def na comme wax nga yu bari yoo xam ne def nga ko waaye ndax is that enough pour Gambien si war ko mën a joxaat another chance.
Xam nga anybody listening to me, if I were to vote and walk into the polling booth, I would not vote for Adama Barrow as president. Because I still believe after serving for 2 terms, he needs to step aside and give the country an opportunity to hit the reset button. I think it's important.
Even though there is no term limit.
Even though there is no term limit. Let me say this. Ko xamne danga dem ci biti nga ne xam nga danga ko dee dégga ne no third term for Adama Barrow.
Yes.
Dañ ko dee wax. Constitutionally, Adama Barrow su ko neexee sax mu run for 15 terms. The law of the land gives him all the rights to do whatever the hell he wants to do as far as running for the presidency.
And that supersedes
that supersedes everything else. Anyone, whether political party or an individual, you want to violate the Constitution to stop him. I think any Democrat or anyone who believes in the Constitution should not only reprimand him, but fight against that individual. Why Niko wax li ñoo wax man loolu laa gom mooy ne Adama Barrow should not run for a 3rd term. Because it's not good for the country, it's not good for his legacy.
So
why am I saying that?
How will they stop him from running?
Ken du ko stop.
Okay.
I'm saying that the only way that he can be stopped is actually to defeat him at the polls.
To the blood box. Okay.
Why taxut nit ñi wax ci seen àq because of how we got here and how he got elected.
Okay.
And there is another danger. Ci suma njëlbeeni wax laal naa ko. We have a democracy now. We have a rule of law. We have an independent judiciary. Pillars yooyu leen mu fi. But it's very fragile, especially in our sub-region in Africa. The democracy is not consolidated. Cement bi wowagut wow boo xam ne democracy will stay. I give you an example of Burkina Faso. I told you what happened in Mali, or Niger, or even Guinea-Bissau. Just Demba. Jawara was here for 30 years, maybe less. 5 terms in office. We had democracy. 24 hours, it was gone. Barrow running for a 3rd term exposes that vulnerability. Because, you know, institutions like the army, they see what is happening in the sub-region. They will exploit it. Because every Gambian, Barrow himself said it, no one should stay for more than 10 years. He said it. Whether it's constitutional or not, do waji. If I were to advise him, President, you want to consolidate our democracy? You want to consolidate anyone who has democracy and rule of law, it has nothing to do with Barrow. Nyoko indi, yes. But Barrow is the overseer. He is the president. He has the powers. He could have done exactly what Jammeh was doing. Didn't go ahead. But there are a lot of things he's doing. So he contributed to the present climate. What he should do more to respect the 2-term limit. Even though it's not in the constitution. He has options. Find another candidate within the NPP. Really, if you really believe in the process, or say in anyone, back that person, then that will send a message to the Gambian people. Nay, fi ken not fe nek more than 10 years. And that will set the stage. Army like nonsense here duñ ko mëna exploit because the Gambian people dañoo wax ne look, you know what? Mun nañoo xaar. Barrow ñëw na dem na am nañ beneen président bu ees. They will give that person time. Allow what that person can do. But if you allow yourself another 5 years, ñaanuma ko yàlla de bugguma ko it nag, and I'm not advocating for that. But the fact that our democracy is fragile, it's not consolidated, pare, akanyantale. Barrow has done what he has done. Defna his bit. He needs to step aside and allow someone else that's good for the country. Garmi.
Kuli bala ñu jàll si nenam because am na yeneen point yu mu bëgg laal bala ñu jeexal. Barrow comme yow nu ko gisee mooy wartu ron ndax da nga ko bees ci xëy na dafa dese man liggéey bi wala da nga ko bees ci rek ne dafa war a ron na 10 years na wàcca keneen ñëw ci fan nga ko teg maanaam ci ndax comme ñenn ñu bu ñuy criticiser ne Barrow dafa tële maanaam mënut ñenn ñu nañ ko waxee ñenn itam dañ jàpp rek ne dafa war a wàcca mu respect li mu waxoon si ne kenn du ron for more than 10 years Mr. Jeng moom fu mu ko teg ne Barrow wartu ron for a third term.
Xam nga man wax naa la my main concern is the threat to the very democracy that we've built up to this point. Buñ ko sàggaanee and Barrow running for a third term man dama foog ne mi ngi sàggaanee loolu. Secondly, man gëm naa ne when Barrow walked in the convention hall at Kairaba, Barrow has absolutely no idea what governance is all about. Seriously, moom ci boppam wax na ko mu ne man munuma I'm gonna allow people together, they'll help us build this country. Over time, ci loo nekk na Barrow jàngana, of course he has. When I do believe at this critical stage of this country, we need someone else. Someone who is much more qualified, someone who is much more transformative, someone who is much more competent. Barrow lim def post-dictatorship dang dee dem through phases. Whether Barrow jàngana Barrow jàngut man yëfi jàng yi sax du suma affaire. I'm not into that. Does he have the competence? Barrow am na limitations. There is no one in this country who doesn't know that. am na lu mun am na lu munut lim def na ko jox nañ ko réew mi fukki at post dictatorship def na lim war a def ku wax ne defut doo gor def na wax naa ne tuflitam sax moo ma gënal Yahya Jammeh bari ak ñantale he has done his bit what we need now is to hit that reset button and have a new beginning and give the country a chance under a new leader mu indi moom tamit ay nitam Barrow hasn't changed the culture of the politics it's still business as usual Garmi they need somebody transformational
all right noo gisee political landscape bi jamono ji noo gisee situation bi ci wàllu politique ci ñëpp muy ci opposition bi muy ci ruling party bi noo ko gisee
in 10 months 2026 we'll go to the polls most people will tell you most people political observers most likely Barrow will win if you look at knowing our politics and how it works ki amee the public purse we've seen him he spent almost 52 million going around the country from Banjul to Basse to Koina just recently he made a declaration $50 million to help women entrepreneurs the guy will do whatever it takes to win the election and how do you win elections loolu nga njëkk a laaj especially in the African continent naka nga dee winee election it's going to come down to incumbency it's going to come down to public purse xaalis and the government has that now maa ngi just jógee Kawur gis naa yoon wi jógee Simbara ñooñu suñ jógee waan Kawur suñ jógee waan Simbara ci suba pour dem Kawur dana leen jël 2 hours Talib baa nga ñuul kukk if you go to that villager and come 2026 opposition bi joxuñ leen luñ xam wax naa la ne seen standard of living hasn't changed much waaye soo leen joxut luñ xam they'll vote for the status quo the opposition that I'm seeing moo tax wax naa la ci biir wax ji ne man moo taxoon 2024 draft bi ma bëggoon mu pass that would be an insurance policy for the opposition to win there has to be a comprehensive coalition everybody is saying that soo joxut nit ñi now I understand parties are dismissing it man duma yàlla mënuma toog fii ne Mr. Dabo cannot defeat Barrow su ma ko waxee wax naa lu ma neex mënuma toog fii ne I support UMC Talib Ahmed Bensouda su ma waxee ne Talib Ahmed Bensouda mënut a defeat Barrow but one thing I know the deck is stacked against them seriously du yomba let me start with UDP in 2021 Mr. Dabo contested during dictatorship in 1996 Mr. Dabo was the most electable candidate in the entire country. Mr. Dabo was hand-chosen to run against APRC. xam nga ñoom dañ nangu nguur gi form seen parti def li leen neex soldat yi neen ban NPP ban PPP ban NCP people come together ñu ne we need to find a candidate an antidote koo xam ne mun naa defeat soldat yi nii they think of no one but Mr. Dabo. You know why?
Why?
He was not part of the cabal, the PPP cabal. They are corrupt. He wasn't part of that. He was well known, a veteran lawyer, well respected by every community there is. He wasn't just chosen out of a vacuum. He was chosen because he was well respected. The most electable person at that time, Mr. Dabo, the Moideka. It didn't work out. You can blame it on a lot of things. 2001, Wanala, backed by the PPP, it didn't work out. 2006, the disintegration of NAD, he walked away, formed coalition with Ahmad Ba, it didn't work out. In 2011, it didn't work out. In 2016, we came together. Jammeh was sent packing. In 2021, Mr. Dabo's time has come. Rear me before 2021. Kula waxoon ne UDP du win election bi ngeen did it. Ci suñ programme bi every Sunday ma banka mané back and forth. I bet him $1,000. Ne ko bro. Munema they are not going to win. Mané ko xawma na dinañ winam duñ win de, but it will be a close election. Munema where would you put it? Mané ko close to 40%. Mané ko Barrow might, because of his incumbency, 43, Mr. Dabo 40, something like that. Man falako sintu. And I'm known to be a political strategist. Because man numane farfarlo. I call it the way I say it. So I thought, really andal. UDP was powerful in the diaspora. They raised funds. I'm going to an election doko winto amu khalis. They were together. Rear me. Yang fi gis nga ko. Wait. I couldn't believe it.
So ndax kon ñu amul reason pour challenge results because comme yow ni ko doon gisee noonu because ñoom challenge results yi wax ne di results were not fair. Comme wax sa ne di election.
Man wana ko ci suñ programme bi again and again and again. Ndax am na njuuj njaaj here and there. It's possible. But let's drill down to the details. In URR, Adama Barrow got about 95,000 votes. How many other votes la UDP am? 9,000. What's the difference? Jurom ñaar fukki junne ak lu tek. Sacha, how? Come to CRR. Adama Barrow walked away with about 68,000 votes. Do you know how many votes la UDP am? About 26. NBR, same story. LRR, fala affaire bi def nii. Fofu vote sax nekku fa. You went ñu ne okay, nañ dem to what people would call the battleground. West Coast. Fa lañ ko yaakaaree woon. Gap bi gën a ubbeeku. When everything is said and done, Adama Barrow won by almost ñaari téeméeri junne karta. My friend, you telling me ñaar téeméeri junne foreigners no vote? Are you telling me ñaar téeméeri junne stuffed ballots? It doesn't make sense. They lost the elections. It was free and it was fair.
All right.
Unfortunately.
ñu ñëw si mbiri UMC. Talib jóge UDP coow loolu ñun yëpp am ci ñu bari de wax ko yow wax nga ko fi sax ne yaa ngi support UMC ñu bari ñu ngi ko ngi am génn bi génn Talib génn am UDP ñu bari jàpp ne loolu mooy nekk his biggest mistake wala political mistake mooy walk away from UDP yow ban jàngat nga ci def ñaar lan la Talib wan wala UMC wan ba nga leen di nga nekk di leen support.
Like most Gambians, ñu nekk ci diaspora bi. I have been part of this struggle for a long time. And like most people, I want to see a different Gambia. And I believe in the status quo, current crop of politicians, they've done their bit. We need new leadership. I am not supporting Talib Ahmed Bensouda because I believe ne mo gën a competent Mr. Dabo or Khalifa Sallah. No. I'm not supporting Talib Ahmed Bensouda because I believe ne his policy prescriptions is much more progressive or better for this country than UDP or DOI or even SFL. They did. You see, man, I'm a very practical person. Man, Bugana Adama Barrow to be defeated so that you am an opportunity to have a new government. Damadan wax ci suñ programme bi ne you will never be able to do it without using the UDP vessel. You have to use the United Democratic Party. Ñoom ñoo am 240,000 votes, bankable votes. So buggee win election, foofu nga dooree. It makes practical sense. I also do now. To win an election, xam nga wax naa la da nga need xaalis. Wax naa la ne da nga need message. You also need choice of candidate. Ñetta ñooñu soo leen amut doo win election. So man money. If you take Talib Ahmed Bensouda under the UDP, backed by Alhaji Ousainou Numukunda Dabo, flanked by Yangs, by Lamin Sane, by Rohilo, ngeen jógee Banjul to Koina, Talib is the flag bearer representing the UDP. Like Attack would say, it's game over. Man lula gomone moy won the winning formula for 2026. And I've said it again and again on our platform. It even got me in trouble with the UDP folks. You know UDP, Bugulonyo. Don't say that. I'm an analyst, just like you guys are. Manalin, this is a winning formula. And NPP, Lore Lejaragalo. Everybody thought ne, Nahmuna Nyaka, I'm going it will never happen. Damalabugo just a background why I am supporting UMC. It's not because of the things that I highlighted. So man, lolu moma gën alone. That is the surest way for you defeat Barrow. Man, lolu gone. Something happened. It didn't happen. Most insiders would say, "Ne, man, Diaspora bila deka." There were a lot of UDP supporters. Ñoom loolu lañ bëggoon a gis. It didn't happen. Talib had to end up leaving.
Is that the right decision?
You know,
because yow da nga jàpp ne pour jële fi Barrow dafa war a mën a nekk ci keppaaru UDP.
ci keppaare UDP.
Wow.
Yes. Keppaare UDP would have been the surest way. Bobo gënoon a dëgër. Because, but under Talib Bensouda, man loolu laa gëmoon ne mooy one the surest way to do it. Because you see, there is something, politics. It's about timing, it's about excitement. I believe the Gambian electorate has changed, and I believe Talib, he's that person that people can connect with. And I'm not just saying it I support Talib. No, hell no. It's not about that. So when Talib left UDP, I know it is much more difficult for him to win. Is there a pathway for him to win? Yes, there is. Because when you go out there, Gambians want change. They can feel it. They believe someone like Talib could be a viable option. They believe that. So I personally decided, you know what? Sitting on the fence, there are 900,000 voters. By the time everything is said and done, it's going to be 1.2 million. They're going to participate in the process. Most of them are under 35. With these new voters, with Talib's likability, now, can he do it alone? It's possible. I would like to see a solid coalition of UNC. Right now there are 3 options.
What are they?
The first option was a comprehensive, everybody come together. They put their cards on the table. If they all back A&M Dabo, I believe we will be in a formidable position to defeat Barrow. It's possible. What I don't like, what I don't like, I think Lamin Mane came and said something that did not help that. The only way they will do a coalition, Dabo leads on the UDP, which is okay for that to be their position. But it's not helpful. What you don't do is you don't put conditionalities at the beginning. Respect, jox nit cër dafa baax ci waxtaan. Yow xam nga ne the trust is not there. The history 2016 is not there. So li nga wax mooy ne ñun de opposition bi ñun ñëpp ci benn jubluwaay bi la dañ war a génne Barrow. Hit the reset button, the constitution, the changes, things that we have in common. Nañ leen toog ñu waxtaan. Suñ waxtaanee juboo mun naa am nga bàyyi ko foofu. Suñ la laajee na yow yaay lead or doo lead press la nga ne leen is simple. Ñun dey suñ toogee di waxtaan dinañ leen wax what we bring into the table. We have 240,000 bankable votes. Su boobaa ñu seet ñoom su fekkee ne dañ am leneen luñ mun a teg ci table bi. We will find a common ground. Noonu ngaa waxee su fekkee ne da nga bëgg a indi juboo. But soo tobee nga ne ñun de condition bi nii la xam nga su boobaa yow utuloo. Now, UDP believe that the pathway for them to win. They believe if each opposition parties, if they do well, if Talib Ahmed Bensouda, if he does very well, he's going to take a lot of votes from Barrow. And if that happens, that will give them a pathway to victory. For me, that is too risky. December 6, Richu dina am. So ko buga base fofu. Munna neka, Yalla rek xam. But I will not put my money on it. For Talib Ahmed Bensouda, his pathway was to target these young voters. Talib is likable. Talib is not seen as Patisangam or Patisangam. He's not part of the old guard, the NPP, UDP, Herbi. He's not part of that. He's fresh and he's different. He's going to target young voters. If that happens, he needs to form a coalition with some of the other players. So, because most people think forming a coalition on UDP is out of the equation. Man, I beg to differ. Man, ever wax never is not possible. Man, I beg to differ. I seriously beg to differ. Is it still possible? It's very possible.
ak lu xew yëpp si génn bi coow li
yëpp
ba tey mun nañoo expect a coalition between UMC and UDP
mun naa am
ok
laaj ma naka lay amee
naka
xam nga before 2016 parti yi amul lu yàkkalu sa bopp there was no trust after the disintegration of NAT ku la waxoon ne parti yi mun nañoo ñëw together comprehensively danga naan munta am. But it happened. How could this one happen? First, nah dina xew tay. did it. If I were advising the UDP, I'm not going to my advice. This is what I would do. Mr. Dabo would make a pronouncement. This current back and forth between UMC because party. They all believe in the same policies and programs. Then mer. So amé sa jabar ngeen taggo di ngeen waxante wax ju ñaaw ñen ñi la naka ya namp ci mbam wax ji xama naka lañ koy waxate juddu ci gilem namp ci mbam ya bon ngeen waxante wax yu ñaaw. What you need to do danga rafetal because do xam sey bi man na hapunat. If I were Mr. Dabo, I will go out and I will make a big statement. Ne bugatuma degga ben UDP wax anything against ñi nga xamne ñun ñoo bokon party. We have lot more in common than divided us. Bugatuma ko degga because strategically it doesn't even help us politically. Ñun benn jubluwaay lañ am pour moo génnee fi Barrow. Bugatuma anyone who said anything about UMC dinaa ko call individually. I'll speak against it. I will call the UMC leadership, basically tell them whether we work together or not. Suñ jubluwaay benn la. Talib Bah Ahmed Bensouda du wax ju ñaaw.
mu ngi am ay gars yu attaque UDP.
ñooñu nag la Talib Ahmed Bensouda also. Because you see ñu ne benn lam du keleng. ñoom tam they need to cease fire. Because look, UMC will never win the election by attacking the UDP. If you feel good la rek ak emotion, it's not going to do it. They need to stop it. Su boobaa ku nekk nga dem uti. We have 10 months. If UMC believe ne form nañ seen parti dem nañ ci dex gi gis nañ ñoom li mun a am ak li munta am, right? UDP will go out there. They will see the reality. Li moo mun a am o li moo mun a ñàkk a am. Su boobaa ñoom ñu gis ne coming together they have a better chance than staying apart. Su ci nit doxee mun naa am waaye da ngay njëkkee di rafetal. You allow for that to happen because especially if you want a comprehensive coalition, you allow that to happen. Why don't you door the rafetal? Because UDP campaigning against UMC doesn't help them politically. UMC campaigning against UDP doesn't help them politically either. So buñ dem fofu.
Okay. So comme lu nga wax ne logique bi bu fekkee UMC dem na ba someday mu ne ok nangu naa léegi ñëw def ay coalition bi ci UDP ndax foofu tamit make na any sense comme Talib at the first place mu war a génn UDP.
You know, look yi du yefi sense ak lu make sense ak lu make good sense ku yàgg ci politique lu nekk nga gis. The question is whether it makes sense or not. That's not the question. The question is re-electing Barrow.
Okay.
The option is can you can you guys sit down, waxtaan, because Barrow is the threat and you want to have a new beginning. Ci biir waxtaan boobu lu nekk xëj na ci. Now, understand na ordinarily Talib génn na léegi pour gars yi mun a ñëwaat loolu make good sense. How come it doesn't make sense? Whatever differences that they have, they find common ground. Most people would tell you for the coalition parties to come together, do happen and it doesn't make sense. It's difficult. It's complicated. Is it possible? It's possible. Nakala ame talk waxtaan. If you don't sit down and talk, if you don't form a coalition, now, can Talib Ahmed Bensouda win without coalition with UDP? Absolutely. Man, if you ask me, I have always talked about what I call the third force. Going back to 2021, man, my advocacy mooy woon ne even ñoom Halifa ak ñoom Essa Faal ak ñoom Mama Kandeh, they should come together and form a bloc run against UDP and NPP. And that was my proposal. It got me even in trouble with Guy UDP at that time. I think that third force, Bobo, can make the difference as well. If you have Talib, Bobo tamit do easy de, form a coalition with ñoom LJ Dabo, Tabax Rewmi, the new players, Essa Faal, Halifa Sallah, Mama Kandeh. If they form a third force, they go around the country and ñun sonn nañ ci yëfi UDP ak NPP. We want a new beginning. We are forming this force to change this country. And these are the things that we are going to do to change it. I can guarantee you, Garmi, there is traction.
Pour ñu mën a defeat President Barrow.
Man di gisuma neneen.
Léegi ci mbiru coalition bi xëccoo mbaalo bi mu ngi bari ñii di wax ne kii ñoo am nombasi ñi la ñoo nangam am ñuy wax ne kenn duñu force et candidate nangam dañoo négocier wax GDC wax fii even boo xoolee Assembly Fall moom li mu waxoon mooy di 2021 presidential election di results yooyu noonu kenn du ko jël pour wax ne lii mooy happen pour ñu former coalition ak nangam soo ñuy dem nii wax ji nii bu fekkee ne dem nañ fii ba 2 3 months 4 months there is no coalition wala strong coalition ndax fooguloo President Barrow dina win because of ñu bari jàpp nañu without a coalition ndax président bi sax ñi mën nañ koo defeat without a coalition ndax suñu electoral system bi just one vote sax soo ko rawee ni raw gàddu la.
Xam nga in 2016 we formed a coalition around October 3 months before the general election and we were still able to forge it. The election cycle dafa gàtta be now you see xam nga wax naa la ne Lamin Mane look su dëgg ñëwee ba dëgg ñëw su dëgg ñëwee ba dëgg ñëw UDP's assertion ne ñoom they have almost 240,000 votes going by what happened in 2021 anybody ku la bugg a wax ne loolu relevant da nga ko war a tegee boor that doesn't make sense. That has to be factored in. What you cannot do, and this is where Manela Lamin Mane dafa juum suma waa Kawur la dafa juum you don't put that as a condition joxuloo pate yi cër respect loo leen pour nga wax loolu ku demut gànnaar it xam ne guddi la ñuy reer you have over 200,000 bankable votes. But remember, Talib Ahmed Bensouda was also part of the UDP. Do you allocate any votes to him for that? Or no, 0 votes nga koy jox? Forget about that. Danga seet li leen war a indi together. Ñi dismiss li UDP di wax noonu. And then there is this funny term called electability. Garmi, naka nga determine kan moo electable? It's a very difficult question. Ñaari mbir moo mun a am.
Not that winnable candidate boobu moom UMC ñoo ko fi indi ñoom ñoo dee wax loolu.
Déet.
We must lead by a winnable candidate.
Let me say this.
A winnable candidate.
Let me say this. UMC and myself included believe that Talib Ahmed Bensouda is a very electable candidate.
Wow.
Why do I believe that he was very electable?
Why?
Xam nga wax naa la ne la bam nekkee UDP and I look at the appeal and this is someone who contested election again and again and again and he got re-elected. So he just didn't come out of thin air.
Yeah, but under the ticket of UDP.
Exactement. Bari, still.
In 2018, Talib bu taxawaloon as an independent candidate du win.
Man gëm naa loolu it nag. Suñ ne kan moo defar Talib Ahmed Bensouda, I absolutely agree is UDP. ñoo ko togg ba mu ñor waaye politique dafa funny. Kaay ma jox la benn exemple American politics. ñoom Jesse Jackson, these were the civil rights strugglers. Amut luñ defut. Jesse was well known. He ran in 84 for the presidency to become the first black president. He didn't go anywhere. In 88, the same thing. Out of nowhere comes Barack Obama. gars yi dañ ko daan siis sax ñoom jesi ñun yàgg nañ fi kii fu mu jógee gi nga lay olof yi wax naan léegi-léegi ñu dismiss ko ne njiit yàlla moo koy tànn let's not dismiss that there is something about Talib that resonates with Gambians. You see, most people will tell you that even though the coalition they came together in 2016, why have got somebody like Adama Barrow, he was an unknown. Ken amuton strong opinion against him. Am na ñu laa wax ne suñ tànnoon Ahmad Bassah or Halifa, Jammeh could have easily won because Jammeh lost by 18,000 votes. Because am na ñoo xam ne UDP duñ sànni Halifa Sallah ba ilaajin Musa man. Most people would tell you ne su doon Adama kii Mr. Dabo la woon sax most likely Jammeh would have defeated him. But Adama Barrow was an unknown. Most people thought, you know what? I want Barrow out. I want Jammeh out. It was easy for them to vote for Barrow. To vote for Barrow. There is something that Talib has. Talib, xam nga politique bi soo si yàggee mu ngi mel ni waañ nga yàgga ci sa mbubb mi dafay ñuul kukk. He's fresh. He's new. He's different. He's appealing. He has crossover appeal. Am na num demee te man this is not just man lu ma wax. Karame yow journalist nga you talk to people time boobu ñaa xam ne sax they don't support UDP lan la leen jee wax ma ne du ma support UDP waaye suñu jëlee Talib ma votal ko. You hear that a lot. And another thing that I will tell you about why I also like Bensouda's candidacy, mooy ne he can win. Really, I believe that he can win. Why not? Dafa am fu ma war a jaar. Secondly, on day one, if Talib were to become president, he will be ready on day one. Why am I saying that? When Jawara came in 1965, we got our independence, new president. Jawara was a veterinary doctor. Young Madiga. He didn't know anything about governance. Pingu Naklalandem. A very smart man. But he didn't have experience in governance. One would say from 1965 to 1975, President Jawara was going through a learning curve. It takes time. Presidency bi kenn du ko dee jànga kenn du ko dee pareel. Jawara did not have executive experience. You know to Jammeh, a soldier, lieutenant soldier, came. He wasn't ready on day one. Talib Ahmed Bensouda, he's been mayor for almost close to 10 years. He has executive experience. We've all seen him. He has managed budgets. On day one, Talib is ready to bring about change. Du nekk di jànga naka lañ koo defee. I'm just telling you why I support his candidacy. One, he can win. Can he do it alone? It will be difficult. Yeah. Will I bet my money on it? Roll the dice? Everything has to work perfectly well. Why so ñoko jàppale. Let's look at the latest data. Forget about what I think. Forget about what I would call anecdotal opinions from different people. Lan la ñoo wax. Let's look at the last Cyprus polling data. 60% of Gambians say they will not vote for Adama Barrow and he shouldn't run. Did you see that data? Am na amut. So su fekkee ne you are data driven laa wax de 60% of Gambians bare nañ ci Adama Barrow. 63% said ne Mr. Dabo shouldn't run and they would vote against him. Am na amut.
ndax loolu ci ñun because by election bu passé nii ñaari by election yëpp wala ñaari woot yëpp président bi dafa win candidate président bi dafa win.
We are talking about a national election.
Yeah,
and who is he running against?
sooy def date yi tamit doo ko def ci benn gox kese da nga koy def ci gox yooyu boo demee ba fóoni président bi war a winaat foofu by election.
But Garme xam nga a by election you run against an incumbent who am xaalis am yépp poko, whether it's in Fonyi or in Kayaf. I am not totally surprised that he's able to win it.
Yeah, but by election, Masambe, you bari don't want there's a yellow card. President Milimo wanted lose the popular vote.
Not necessarily.
In 2015, Jammeh, he was defeated in Kaur by election.
In Kaur by election.
Yeah, that is the yellow card, and the red card is coming.
Man wax naa la ne la. Anyone who's going to walk into 2026 thinking ne danga win very easily, you are mistaken. Even the same Cyprus data, when everything is said and done, most Gambians, they gave him 30% belief he is going to win. 18% was Talib and 12% was Mr. Dabo.
Yes.
And it went down and down and down. So lima wax moy ne there is a potential for Barrow to be defeated. Why not opposition be? If they don't do their homework, man li la gom. So fekkee ne ñoom ñëpp dañ go into the elections. Talib samp ndindam, Esafa samp ndindam, Lamin Dia Dabo santa deba, Tabax Rewi samp ndindam, UDP samp ndindam. I can guarantee you the president will win.
Then only a coalition?
Absolutely, of some sort. Either a comprehensive one or the shortest way. So if again people go get a Barrow, give the country a chance for a new constitution, a new Gambia, then ñoom nañ toog ñu waxtaan. Suñu waxtaanee, that's the first option. Comprehensive one moo gën a óor.
Mooy bu ñëpp ñëw.
Bi ñëpp ñëw. Su loolu mënta am. Mr. Dabo I'm sure Mr. Dabo dinañ am UDP dinañ am coalition on smaller parties. Loolu mun naa am. UMC would have to go out there and build a very strong coalition with some of these other players. I would love to see Mama Kande join forces with UMC. I would love to see Esafal join forces with UMC. I would love to see Halifa Sallah Doi on the Swaibu now join forces with UMC. I think that will be also a formidable force. That is the second option. Because if that happens, two things will not help. The third force will do very, 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 very well and give UDP the opportunity to win. Then when UDP winning, it's not my problem. I'll celebrate because I want to see change.
All right. Finally, ñu jeexale foofu laal nga ko mooy gis nañ PDOIS seen congress buñ defaatoon muy continuation after bi nga xamee ne amuñ woon quorum seen first congress bi in December to elect waaye def nañ ko finally gis nañ change of leadership. Halifa Sall léegi nekkatut di secretary general. Sidia Jatta bokk ci executive kii bi gis nañ léegi Souhaïbou moo ko jiite honorable Souhaïbou ak ñeneen ñu nekk ci biir executive noo ko jàngate ñu bari jàpp ne expect nañ ko si yeneen parties am ñu sax xam nga politiciens yi seen gaaruwaale wante yi. Yes yow noo gisee loolu noonu.
Bilaay dama bëgg a ndokkale ñoom Halifa, Sidia, Souhaïbou and the entire Doi as a party. Doi comme ni nga ko waxee yàgg nañ fi lu mun ñeent fukki at going all the way back in the 80s. li sos seen parti bi ñun ñëpp xam nañ ko. Doi dañ xaw a uute ak yeneen parti yi. They will never compromise their principles just to win an election. They will never do that. And the role that Doi plays going all the way back, gis nga coalition bi ñu wax ne yëpp role bi Doi play going all the way back to 2006 ak 2016 ñëpp gis nañ ko ak seen bot. I've heard a lot of people criticize ne sometimes participate tamit comme like say Doi ñoom Halifa dañ war a abale and bring in the young people. waaye xam nga su fekkee ne yow da nga build a party like Doi nga xam ne yow da nga ko build you believe in something awareness empower the voter the little guy change the politics make it about the people. It took a while. su ñoom Halifa ak ñoom Sidia bàyyi woon 5-10 years ago 15-20 years ago yow yaakaar nga ne Doi dina egsi fi mu war a egsi nii du lu yomba especially in Africa you build a party based on principles you believe in it nga bëgg ko jël lebal ko keneen pour mu yóbbu ko Now, there's a lot of clamoring. They need change, new generation. And I understand that. And it's good that they have done it. But settle ninko defe. Samsar, an important element in that equation, is still there. He has institutional memory. Swaibu, du gan ci doy de. Kiñ ko denka ninko ku jara denka. And these people are not walking away. What they're doing is allowing, because people demand it. Xam nga nit ñi ñooy laajte soo nekkee pati ñëpp ne waaye yéen tamit yàgga ngeen fii yéen tamit da ngeen a abale. You listen to what people say. And that's exactly what they did. Now, you can say, under a new leadership, but man, I do believe ne root si, principle si, bentay move. Manglena ndokale, manglena congratulate. And I also want to task them. In 2016, they played a huge role to bring about change. Halifa Sallah sacrificed to allow Adama Barrow to be president. A lot of leaders sacrificed to allow him. Maybe we're going to task them again to find a way to give this country a chance. Most people say it's impossible. Manduma de ever wax dara is impossible in politics. If the determination pas bi su fa nekkee gom bi su fa nekkee you allow it ngeen toog ngeen waxtaan, anything is possible. People think that Doi cannot work with UDP. I beg to differ. Is it going to be easy? Muk judduma demba du yomb mom
pour Doi ak UDP liggéey
du yomb de mën naa ne suñ joxantee cër mën naa ne suñ joxantee respect mën naa ne. Doi and UDP, they have a lot of things in common. Let me give you an example. This asset recycling, a major policy from the Barrow government. Where this asset recycling, the new privatizing the state-owned enterprises. Xam nga ne Doi ak UDP so they want wuñ ci seen gom-gom. They believe that these public enterprises needs to be safe and government can still play a role. They believe that. So if you can find commonalities, they all believe that there should be a new constitution. They all believe that we have to change the way we manage the budget. Doi and UDP all believe that when everything is said and done, the allocation to agriculture, public purse should be way more, that they should pay attention to the little guy, the market women. They believe that. So they have a lot in common. Suñ toogee ñu joxante cër ñu respectante ñu waxante dëgga li nga xam ne moo xewoon in 2016 ñu accept mistakes that were made. There could be a possibility. Su fekkee nag ne ku ci nekk da nga bëgg a dem sa yoon and you do your thing, then you know what? I don't think that's what's good for the country. I like Soros way, comprehensive coalition. Suñ munta am loolu, I want to see a third force that can also compete.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jeng, for having you on Eyeafrica. Rawatina si so bi di Dr. Eyeafrica.
Garbi, thank you very much. I'm not a wax ji léegi dem indi because waxtaan wi dafa yaatu. So we couldn't really. I really thank you immensely because Eyeafrica dama dee wax Pasamba. Ma ne ko dara si suñ show bi ñu bari dañ ñu dee call. Ne yéen seen waxtaan wi da ngeen ko war a def ci local languages yi. Lan lu ci am solo la. So that we can get to the Gambian people. Problème bi ñu am. Yow the skill that you have ñun amuñ ko. Xam nga man faana laa wax naa la dégg naa olof. waaye wax ci politique. and you can tell through the interview anglais ji bëri na si su ma ko mënoon a wax ci olof moo ma gënal moo tax muy déglu sa programme bi di déglu Eyeafrica di ci taataan yi because eventually ma ne comme yow ni ngay doxalee noonu laa bëgg a doxalee pour mun a jël policy di wax ko ci olof in a way boo xam ne lu am solo la.
Thank you.
You guys are doing a good job and together like I said ñun ku ci nekk rek we can make a difference. Thank you very much Jammeh.
Thank you.
waaye war nga may booleeg sa téyeer yi nag.
Inshallah.
xaftaan yi rafet nañ de.
Mama's design.
Mama's design.
Mama's design. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Jeng.
Thank you very much, Jammeh.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much,
Jammeh. bu baax ni nga koy waxee rek yéen suñu doyen ngeen. ñu ngi leen di topp ñun tamit. di leen seetaan ni ñu koy waxee rek Eyeafrica TV Gambien si ñoo ko moom du télé benn parti wala du télé kenn pour askan wi la so ñu ngi leen di gërëm bu baax di gërëm tamit yéen ñuy doon seetaan nii la woon rek tey Mouhamed Garmi Mbaye ak suñu gan nekkoon Musa Jeng ñu amoon mbégte bu baax dalal ko di gërëm tamit technical team bu may àndal ci liggéey bi bu Seydi Kanté Khadija Si Aboubacar Manga ak ñëpp gërëm team bi yëpp di leen dig daje ajuma bële di ñëw bu ci yàlla andee mbokk yi jërë ngeen jëf.
Thank you very much.